into the auditorium, we'd be ever so kind. Okay, guys, I think we're going to, whoever's in the room now, could you please take your seats, please? Because we'll be starting the next conversation as the others start to take their seats. Artificial intelligence and its implications is a topic which is being widely discussed around the world, and with good reason. It gives me great pleasure to welcome our next guest speaker, who's come all the way from Berlin by way of Italy and London. And in keeping now with our tradition of having Italian speakers, I'm delighted to invite Guglielmo Picchi, Director for International Relations at Machiavelli Center and former Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs of Italy, to deliver his keynote address. Please welcome Guglielmo to the stage. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's a great pleasure to be here today to speak about a very hot topic in these days, artificial intelligence. Of course, it's great to be again in Budapest, and a great thank you to my friends from the Council of Slovak Exporters and to Lukáš Parizek for having me here delivering this speech. As said, the topic is very hot, is very, very important, and what I would like to achieve in this speech is to give the background of what is the right environment for have the artificial intelligence as a whole thrive within a region. The Visegrad countries have embarked on their own path on artificial intelligence, but still the landscape is very fragmented, isolated, and national ambition cannot cope to the challenge so far. So this is a great opportunity to try to understand what is needed in this part of the world in order to have a great artificial intelligence contribution to the development of business, of societies, and to make a better world. The elements that are key to have thriving artificial intelligence is, of course, the private sector. And here is a very good example. Private sector that likely is flexible, adaptive, like the community of small and medium enterprises that you have in this part of Europe. My own country as well is characterized by small and medium enterprises, so I understand well the ability that we have despite lacking of infrastructure, despite red tape, despite lack of business culture that, and cost of energy that limits the ability of making business. Of course, you need people. The people in the previous panel has been highlighted. We need a well-educated community to understand the challenges and understand how to use and make the best use of artificial intelligence. But that's not only the future generation, as always keep up to date the people that are currently involved in artificial intelligence. And we should keep in mind that we cannot allow, and my own country has a very big problem in this respect, of losing people so that we form, train them, And then, because of the lack of opportunities, we send, very skilled engineers or well-educated, higher educated people abroad. That's something we cannot allow, and we need to create, the opportunities for them. The third element is the public sector. As been mentioned before, the government. The government can have, many different functions. Of course, is a client for using the services that the private sector provides in terms of, benefiting the public administration and ease a number of processes that are still very sloppy in this part of the world. But at the same time, the government is the regulator that has to create the landscape in which companies and the entire ecosystem may move. And finally, the third role that the government has is also, to put financing. On this, especially from the panel before, we have heard that, government is key. That is true. But we have to look at the most recent development on the other side of the ocean, of the Atlantic Ocean, where the private sector is basically doing the stuff by themselves. So not anymore with the government, and that is true not just in what we have seen, the space race and the SpaceX doing, but it's very, very true in all the defense sector. But I'll come back to that later. And the final element that you need is an ecosystem where you have public sector, the education system, the people, and the government that is, by definition, adaptive and culturally ready to grasp the new challenges. How big is the artificial intelligence contribution, value added that we can see in the future years? A recent estimate really came out a few days ago, says that by 2030, the contribution of artificial intelligence on top of what is already existing is going to be around $15 trillion to the economy. Of these 15 trillions, unfortunately, only 1 trillion is going to come to Europe, and of this, a mere, we can say, an increase in GDP of 1 or 2% will come to this part of Europe, which means, translated in hard numbers, like 25 to 30 billion to the Hungarian economy, or 55 to 60 billion to the Polish economy. So there is a lot to do. And bear in mind, any minute lost will not be recovered. And the amount of investment that we need then to close that gap is going to be almost impossible to be financed, both the private and the public sector. Using the previous panel, the space, we had in Europe established rocket companies. The French, the Italians have always had been, with vectors that could bring, loads, satellites up to the orbit. We don't have any reusable vector so far. By the time that we have the first reusable vector in Europe, that is going to be early, by the end of 25 to the beginning of 26, SpaceX would have done other 600 launches. So when we get to the first trial of launching a reusable rocket, they will have done other 600 from now, and they have already an operative rocket that is there. So we don't have to miss the opportunity on artificial intelligence. And we cannot limit the use of artificial intelligence as what has been already done in a number. There are a number of players here in the Visegrad region. Unfortunately, we are still very limited to coping with the Industry 4.0 that is good, but we are still trailing behind. I've said the role of regulation. This is something very important. Europe praised itself for having delivered the first regulation of AI, the AI Act, which is a crucial piece of legislation. The mistake that we should not do both at European level and at state level, member states level, including here in the Visegrad region, is that we don't have to over-regulate so that we stop innovation. That's the critical element that I want to highlight, that I criticize on the AI Act that has been passed. If you have an ecosystem of small and medium enterprises, like in the Visegrad or my own country in Italy, and you over-regulated them, you put the burden and you take away resources from innovation. Two last things that I would like to underline. One is a great opportunity, and we are in a part of the world where we have some geopolitical instability on the east of where we are right now. That's an opportunity because the defense sector is going to see massive investments. So what I suggest to a business community like this is to look very close to the defense sector and to try to develop with the defense sector where money is going to be, and so there are the opportunities to develop both technologies that are going to be valid both for the civil sector and for the defense. Finally, one comment that is still connected to the defense, that is the fifth element of the four that I have already mentioned for having AI thriving. That is the responsibility connected to the use of AI. This is an element that should not be underestimated. And I make you an example that is scary from one side, but should awaken us why we need to put responsibility as a key element of the use of AI. The Chinese, as you know, nuclear power, huge economy, they are developing all their nuclear system, nuclear umbrella of protecting their soil through a fully managed AI system. It's going to be the first time ever in the defense, and we still study. The strategy has always been in the hands of people. This is the reason why in war colleges we still study, the ancient war battles, because at the end of the day there was always a man or woman behind the strategic decision. For the first time, the Chinese system will be fully managed with artificial intelligence. And for how good you may write the algorithm, it's likely that the man decision making is out of the field. So this highlighted that several hundreds of warheads, nuclear warheads, might be in an algorithm that for how good might be written is out of the control of man. And with this scary example, I want to say that thanks again for having me here. Artificial intelligence is an opportunity. This region has all the elements for thriving in this field. It's up to you, business community, to make it a success story as you did in many other fields of business. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Picchi, for this very insightful keynote speech, and I definitely hope to be able to build upon this, these elements that you've brought up into our panel today. Good morning, everybody, excellencies and esteemed guests. My name is Olivia Blanchard, and I will be your moderator for the next 45 minutes or so. So this panel is actually brought to you by RENOMIA, and I would like to set the tone a bit, as AI, until very recently, for most of us, was more a futuristic idea than anything. Right now, we have all been probably exposed to large language models, such as ChatGPT, Gemini, Azure, but actually, AI is so much more than that, and I hope that after this panel you will have such an understanding of AI and the opportunities that it represents for the V4 region. So the V4 countries are, I would say, in a unique position to jump ahead a bit of this trend, as it is a very tech-savvy region. And I would like actually to share some data with you from a 2024 report from the European Commission about investments in AI in the Visegrad 4 countries. And actually, they show quite a significant variation, with the Czech Republic actually leading with 4.9 billion euros invested in AI, which is well above the EU average of 2.95 billion euros. Meanwhile, Slovakia and Poland are right under the EU average for investments in AI, with 2.4 billion for Slovakia and 1.95 billion for Poland. And Hungary is trailing with 1.12 billion euros invested in AI. So basically, we can see that there's a wide range of investments set into this region to develop the capacity. So with this vision, these investments come also challenges, and we can think, for instance, as the AI Act that might put some challenges to industry to regulate this technology, but basically I'm leaning on our panel today to give us some insights. So I'd like to welcome Rudolf Sihlovec, the chairman and board and CEO of INO-HUB Energy from Slovakia, Mr. Péter from RENOMIA, he's the CE Digitalization Director, Mr. Michal Góra from Alfavox, CEO, dobrý den, and Mr. Petr, Szabó, CEO of Microsoft Hungary and Vice President of the Association of Digital Enterprises. So we're going to be diving into, for instance, regulations and compliance with AI and insurance, and we'll also take a look, for instance, at how AI can help us optimizing energy utilization, but also looking into personalization and algorithm with Mr. Góra, and finally with Mr. Szabó, we'll go, for instance, into policies. I'd like to encourage our guests today to participate in the panel. Feel free to raise your hand, you'll get a mic, or also to send questions on Slido. There's a QR code, and the code is V4 Business, if I'm not mistaken. Thank you so much for being here, and let's dive right in. I'd like to open this discussion with a question to you all. What would you say, building on Minister Blanner's comment, are the key ways that AI could enhance the competitiveness in the Visegrad 4 countries? Maybe you'd like to start, Mr. Szabó?
Sure, absolutely. Absolutely. So warm welcome from my side as well. Thank you very much for having me here. You know, I work for Microsoft, so obviously you cannot really expect anything else from me but saying that AI is really the big thing, right?
That's right.
But in reality, it is really the big thing. And if you read, and unfortunately I have to start with saying that I think the term AI is a bit spoiled and ruined, mainly by the press, by the way, because you cannot go to a conference, you cannot read any newspaper, you cannot even find an article where AI will not be mentioned, right? Which leads to, unfortunately, the phenomena of people have no clue what really we are talking about. And the thing is, what's happening now, and why I'm saying that this is potentially one of the biggest opportunities for countries and for Europe and for the world to be more competitive and to grow faster is because of the generative AI that just landed in our pockets, actually, about 2 years ago with ChatGPT. If you remember, these kind of technologies, computer companies and digital companies try to develop for decades with many failures, right? And now, this time, we somehow got it right. That's probably because the compute capacity that's fueling all these developments we just reached to that level where it's now adequate. But what is the end result? The end result is that now any of you, in fact, any companies, any individuals, even children, they can have their personal assistant. And that personal assistant can make you extremely, extremely efficient with almost no cost. Now, but why I just said that people have no clue nowadays what is AI, because AI has been used, and I think we will hear a lot of examples, even 20 years ago. I mean, since, for example, like you have Netflix, how does Netflix know what kind of movies you like? Because there is an algorithm behind which is paying attention of what you're clicking on, et cetera, but that's sort of a deterministic type of AI versus the large language model type of generative AI, which we are usually talking about nowadays. And so this last bit, I want to elaborate a little bit because we've heard a couple of numbers. Yes, I also heard this 15 trillion increase in the global economy because of AI. Also, in case of Europe, I'm hearing about 2.3 billion. I think that's a PwC number. But definitely somewhere the expected GDP growth because of AI in the next 5 to 6 years would be somewhere around 15% and somewhere above. So it's actually quite significant. And why is that? Because with this new generative type of AI, it's pretty easy to actually adopt this one, right? I mean, it's an intuitive technology, and anybody at a pretty low cost can implement in their companies. So I think that's where we are at the moment, and I will elaborate a little bit more, where I see the future and how our region should be using this technology. But maybe just give the word to the rest of the panelists.
Thank you. May I maybe just ask if you have a specific example as well of how Microsoft could change our lives with AI?
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Let me give you 2 examples, because one is a very small company, maybe 10 people. When ChatGPT came out, and then Microsoft took over the ChatGPT technology, and now it's available in Azure, so our cloud platform. So basically, the ChatGPT engine you can use and build into your own application, your own software, your own life, basically, through the secure Azure platform. One of the companies that we work with, it's a small educational firm, actually. They're an education platform. They came to me literally a month later and say, hey, we just upgraded our existing platform, and now our students can actually talk to the material that they are learning. So if they don't understand, they just type in and then they get an answer, versus that was not possible in the past. Then the other example, which is what we are selling, so that's our first party product, if you like, the Copilot, which the easiest way to explain it, and that's how I'm doing it always, is imagine ChatGPT put into your applications, like Office 365 applications, so the things that you already know and use day by day, the Word, Excel, Outlook, PowerPoint, and so on and so forth, and having one button there where you can ask things, get summarization, get like a draft for something. For example, if I couldn't make it for today, I wouldn't probably type a long letter, but I just go into the mail I received from you, press generate answer, and into that I say 3 words. Cannot come. Enter, and then I will have a nicely phrased letter to you and politely saying that I'm not available today. So these are the things which are very, very handy, and they are, in fact, in my pocket every day for, by the way, $30 per month, which is, in a company where you need to make sure that your data is secure as well. You could use ChatGPT. You don't really know where your data is going and whether the model is actually learning from your company information. In Copilot, it's in your secure tenant, and you can sleep really well while using the technology.
Thank you. I think I will definitely be looking out for a master class in AI with Microsoft and make my work so much easier. Mr. Góra, would you like to share some insights?
Yeah, actually, we have came during the last years. We have came to the level where the AI technology can cover even 100% of the business processes. Some years ago, it was told about the mistakes and so on. And of course, today, not each process can be covered by 100%. But in the regular businesses, there is a lot of business processes which can be covered like fully from the start to the end, from A to Z. And for the example, I will share with you the cases where we as Alfavox have deployed the AI system for the, one of the biggest shipment company in Europe. And they got the issue that during the Christmas, just before the Christmas, their volume of interaction with the customers rises 4 times. Normally, this is like 500,000 interactions, 500,000 calls with from the customers, and during the December, there is a 2.5 million calls a month. And some years ago, that kind of companies were struggling because the customer satisfaction depends on how fast the customers get precise answer. Thanks to the AI technology, even when the volume of the connections and interactions from the customers rises 5 times, all the customers can be served right now without waiting, without mistakes. And this is one of the examples. The second example I would like to share with you is an example where the AI is used for the government. We have implemented for the Ministry of Finance in Poland the AI technology, which is helping to the taxpayers with the explanation about how to pay the tax, what amount of the tax should be paid. And why it is important? This is important because we have concrete dates where the citizens have to fulfill documents and have to pay the tax. And what happens? People are waiting until the end date, to the deadline, and they were calling to the ministry, to the administration and asking the questions. So you can imagine how many calls was in the last week before the paying date in the 40 million country. It was growing immediately. And thanks to the AI technology we have delivered, the chatbots and voice bots are basing on the generative AI. They are answering to the taxpayers, and the employees of the ministry don't have such a rush in the work, and the citizens are satisfied because they are getting the answers right now. And of course, there is a huge reduction of the costs. So the AI today can be used from the pockets in our phones up to the banks, ministries, and many companies.
All right, so we can see here some cross-sectoral applications of AI. And I'm quite curious as well, Péter and Němec, if you can also tell us about competitiveness, but also about these cross-sectoral applications of AI. I think from the insurance perspective, it could be quite interesting.
Okay. Good morning, afternoon, also from my side. I'm coming from slightly different industry lines, so I'm coming from the insurance brokerage business. So it means like and our company is taking care about like the risk management for the companies over the 13 countries. So we had kind of like overview about what is the appetite across these countries towards the AI, and what are the concrete topics, use cases to utilize them. Yeah? And if I look at from the CEE perspective where our company is operating, I must say that This is definitely the transformative power, which is in our hands. But it's pretty challenging, basically, to use it wisely, to know how to use it, to protect ourselves from the data, and know also the potentials. So this is, you ask for the competitive advantage. This is definitely something which is in view of V4, because we have a chance as emerging markets to overstep some evolution activities and areas, basically, to not to invest billions of euros into the legacy systems, solutions, to spend like billions of euros into making like a huge data warehouses, clean our data, connect the insurance companies with the brokers, with the clients, with the companies, and so on. And AI is definitely something which is enabling basically this evolution forward. Yeah, so this is the advantage I see. We can see the evolution of AI that it's evolving on monthly basis. For the last 3 months, I know that Petr will not like me, but OpenAI and ChatGPT has now increased from 110 to 140 IQ just in 3 months period, which is the level of PhD, by the way. So you can make the jokes with him, so you can give him much more sophisticated tasks. So he's able now to decouple the task into multiple subtasks. And he's quite smart, yeah? Mm-hmm. On the other side, it's not so fun with him as like 1 year ago, because 1 year ago he was hallucinating a lot, so you can make some jokes with him and so on. Now it starts to be more serious and more like polite. Yeah? So
you might have to push it a bit to get some crankier jokes.
Yeah, you need to be pushy, yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is what I see definitely as the opportunity. If you ask about the concrete examples, every year I am visiting like the InsurTech conference, the largest insurance conference in London, and it's quite evident that year by year there are like the new startups occurring in the InsurTech business. Yeah? So like the big players of the big insurance companies and holdings are like stepping away from the journey, and they are like the new players on the markets occurring. So this is definitely what AI is enabling. And basically, in such a boring business like insurance is, it's quite difficult to bring some positive customer experience. So it's definitely something where AI is enabling the embedded insurance into particular products. Mm-hmm. For example, you don't want to have a car insurance, you want to have your dream car, and insurance is like pain in the ass. It's something you need to have basically to cover the risks related to the mobility of mobility services. You want to have your dream house, but insurance is embedded, and so on. So theoretically, you can cover like 80% of the processes of the whole customer journey from the insurance customers. And in each aspect of the insurance life cycle, you can get rid of the administration bureaucracy behind.
I see. So then I do have a follow-up question for you. Is the insurance industry already looking forward and preparing some special packages for liabilities occurred because of some artificial intelligence or systems? My question is really, if my smart car or AI blender goes bananas, who is responsible, and can you help me with that?
Yeah, that's a billion-dollar question, actually. A lot of discussion about it is on the European level. But I have heard some stories also from the Swiss insurance companies that they have already developed the insurance product for basically AI liability. Yeah? So basically to protect from the AI decisions in the companies and so on. It's not like widely spread, especially in the CEE region. It's not so utilized currently. And the current explanation is based on the cases of like the bad decision is the responsibility of the user. It's the responsibility like of a person who is using the AI tools, and so it's the same. All the regulations related to like personal liability occurs also in this case. So nothing concrete currently from our scope of work.
All right, so keep it together, be safe, and what's your step really? Rudolf, would you like to share with you couple of things with us, couple of things, your insights on competitiveness, but also what is the future of energy, which is also a bit more your topic, and how AI is really impacting this industry, because I think it might not be so obvious.
So just one comment to that insurance that, can you imagine you are driving your car and suddenly there is a bad weather? And you would like to rely on your AI. There is a written, take over the driving of your car. So how to ensure the responsibility of AI taking decision without during the bad weather? So we should be quite a bit cautious. So regarding the INO-HUB energy, we launched our journey 3 years ago as an important project of common European interest. Today, we've already bring to the market 3 products. One is AI-EMS for governing the energy system with the artificial intelligence based on deep statistic learning models and neural network. Second one is digital twin, and third one is a battery. Battery which is based on storing electricity, not to solid state batteries, but to electrolyte. So regarding those things, we are facing the environment of really speed changes. So it means that we are witnessing and facing the problem with overcoming the generation of coal-firing power plants to be exchanged with the photovoltaics and wind power. But what is the trade-off or payoff of that? Somebody needs to take care of managing the deviations. There will be, those systems are highly volatile, and we need to be able to calculate how to cope with it. So it means that whether we are going to increase the capacities, not only in terms of power generation, but even storing the electricity. And we need to find the balance. How it is possible to find the balance? So to have some predictive tool, to have some data is better to have nothing. So we need to rely on something. If we are able to predict how the grid will look like in following periods, we are able to say what power is needed in terms of consumption at each 15 minutes during the day, and we need to manage somehow. So those software which are developed, not only the AI, but even digital twin, are not based as a technical solution, but they should be able to monetize what you invested in. So it means that what we are focusing on, always doing comparative analysis, whether what was suggested and what was the reality, whether that making sense and even making money.
All right. I think that this is a very good insight, also in transition pretty much with this afternoon's panel on the V4 and the green transition. Thank you. A couple of you have mentioned digital twins, but also startups. So I'd like to go a bit this way, and also right after that, I'll be checking the audience for any questions. So this is a good time to think about it if you have any. Petr, Szabó, I'd like to ask you maybe if you can share with us some insights about digital transformation, because I think that it is quite crucial for enterprises of all sizes. So what role does Microsoft or the Association of Digital Enterprises, for instance, play in supporting SMEs and startups, for instance, in navigating the challenges related to AI adoption?
Yes, I think I'm in a lucky position because from both of my hats, so the Microsoft one and the Digital Association hat, I would answer really the same. I think, the opportunity, and we talked about that, but, how to make actually money out of it and how to actually get prosperity for the companies, I think we need to first talk about that the EU is always saying that it's always American companies and the Chinese companies and we don't have the technology locally. We can say that, right? But I think to start now to develop our own AI, that would be a very, very costly thing. And that's not my, I shouldn't even comment that part. But I think the benefit, and coming back to your question, is really the adoption of this technology. So now this technology is ready. And I think we do have, and I think you also mentioned that, Olivia, that we have a lot of tech-savvy companies locally. We are actually, inside Microsoft, we are saying that Central and Eastern Europe is really an innovation powerhouse, so we really have the good brains. And while I agree with, I think in the previous panel we heard that the brain drain is going on, but we still do have a lot of good professionals here who can use this technology to develop something for the local markets, right? And I think that's one of the biggest opportunities. So when we talk to startups, now startups, most of them, I'd say 90%, they use, build on, or even build AI in one way or the other, which is, I think, really, really great. When it comes to the Digital Association, IVSZ, we are trying to help our members and even in the broader economy by consulting with the government on policy making, helping the second version of the AI strategy of Hungary, also doing skilling programs and trying to share the knowledge about AI and how it's best used. And by the way, we do very similar things at Microsoft as well, because I think right now, at this moment, still the utilization of AI is very, very low. By the way, I think from this group, Czech Republic probably is leading the group by something like 5.5–6% of the companies utilizing AI. But the EU's target would be 75%, so we are very, very far from that. By the way, the EU is also very far from that with its 8%. So I think that is our primary task, to somehow grow that percentage. And I think the first step is really education, skilling, letting people and companies and decision makers know that this is something, AI is something that is massively improving their productivity and competitiveness. Or, if you like, let's turn it around. If you are not jumping into this technology in one way or the other, then you are going to lose competitiveness.
That's right, and I think also it's really nice that you highlighted a bit of the number of companies, percentage of companies utilizing AI solutions, for instance, in the Czech Republic. I'd like to share with you also some data that can illustrate to our audience a bit about the AI specializations in the region. The 2023 report from the Recursive, top leading magazine for state startups, actually founded in Bulgaria. They provided an extensive mapping of AI trends in CEE, and they have found that basically leading AI companies in the region are specializing in mostly in three AI specializations, which are AI for service providers, AI for consulting, and AI for integration. So these represent already about, with AI for development, about 60% of the AI usage in enterprises in Central Eastern Europe. So with this, I'd like maybe to go to Michal. Góra, do you have some insights you'd like to share, for instance, about digital twins?
I would say that we are today in the era where a lot of rumor is told about the regulation. It was also told a minute ago, and we are in the era of the disruptive technology, which is an AI. I would like to share with you, dear sirs and madams, the case of Poland. I would compare the AI technology to the atomic power plants. Some years ago, there was a lot of rumor in the world about which countries should use the atomic and nuclear power plants and which should not. Today, we have the situation that Slovakia, Czech Republic, Hungary already have the nuclear power plants, and Poland still don't have. Because of that, we have problems with costs of electric energy. We have a problem with the emission of the CO2, and that are real problems for national economy. And when we are talking about the AI, we should realize that the AI is such a disruptive as a nuclear technology. If somebody is not going to invest in that, and if the countries will not open the flexible policies for the AI, they will decrease their competitiveness. So in our region, we have a chance to build the favorable policies for cooperation and for growth of these technologies.
Thank you so much. I'd like to turn to our audience. Please raise your hand if maybe there's a question in the audience. Thank you. Then for a moment, why don't we turn as well towards the question of societal challenges, privacy, and basically data security. Maybe Rudolf and Petr, do you have some insights you'd like to share from your perspective in energy security, in insurance, and for instance, chatbots? Do you have some key issues that we should highlight today?
So from my point of view, the right data for the modeling are crucial. What we are facing is the signing very complicated NDAs for enabling the customers and the provider to share the data and use data for tailoring the predictive model for their needs, because you need to retrain the model at least each 3 months. You need to somehow react to the changes within the market, and not having the right data and not having customized data for the client, there is a problem that the tool as such is not operating as is intended. It is even more significant when you are using the digital twin, because digital twin can simulate and emulate. But to simulate and emulate, right data are must. So it means that you need at first to do decent data mining from the client, to analyze the data, to prepare for the model, adjust the data, and then you are able to use them for prediction. So from my perspective, that privacy can be covered with the NDAs, but NDAs cannot cover everything. So it means that you can make a harm to a customer which you are sometimes not even expressed in terms of money. So you need, is it as always, when you are entering to some business relationship, the level of trust is necessary. So that's it.
Any thoughts on trust?
Okay. Because you ask about the security and the social implications, yeah, and there are several one of them. It's not just about the data privacy, it's more about also the implications towards the society. And this is what I see quite significantly also on my child, for example, on my grandparents. So they are starting to get some experience with AI as well, also in the personal life, and it will definitely come to the business life as well. And I think there is lack of education in general, and it gives a lot of potential for disinformation, for deep fakes, and this kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's not just about losing the data; it's also about misusing the data for the wrong purposes. And this is what is quite visible currently on the social network. During the campaigns, we can see it by using my avatar, calling to my grandmother that I need some money basically to send to my bank account and so on. So this is happening even now. Yeah? And I have experience also with my kids that they started to work with the ChatGPT, for example, as well. Mm-hmm. So I try to teach them how to use it for the composition of the fairy tales, for example. So they start to get used to it, to understand what it is capable of and what are the wrong consequences of the bad recommendation or decisions. This about the social implications. If I would be talking about the security issues, it's pretty important, and this is our experience at RENOMIA, is to develop your own bots, your own AI logic, based on the rules and principles you feed into it. So what we do is that we basically provide a lot of internal policies to the bot. We make a dedicated bot who has a limited environment, working with our files, working with our data, using our documents, and not feeding the data somewhere out, and is dedicated for the concrete purposes. This is one of the mitigation I would like to mention, that we have like a bot for legal advices, bot for IT development, bot for business analysis, and so on and so on. And all of them are having different instructions.
So I see basically we could talk of some issues regarding digital maturity, awareness, and I have the feeling that the audience, I see Zulf has a reaction, a question, so let's hear from him for a second.
Hi. Hello? Yeah, hi. Fascinating stuff. Everybody's got their own vantage point, and artificial intelligence, I think Peter said earlier, is here. There's no running away from it. What are our schools doing? We're learning maths, we're learning English, Slovenski jazyk, we're learning diktat. We're not teaching our children how to adapt with artificial intelligence. Universities aren't focusing on artificial intelligence. Will humans become obsolete if we don't catch up with these technologies? And that's a question to all of you.
If I can, I actually read some statistics about this, like what kind of job occupancies will be replaced by AI, and now it's a prediction that in 3 years, like 60% of the job occupancies will be hit by AI, and 20% will disappear. Yeah? And most of them are related to the junior positions, like the translation services, for example, like lawyer services, actually. So you can make, for $2, you can make the legal and compliance analysis without paying like thousands of euros for lawyer agencies or legal agencies. It's also about the IT programmers, IT developers. So I tried 2 days ago, I asked AI to develop a mobile app for me, and it took me like €1, and it was done in 30 seconds. Yeah, so and it was done. And I guess that you all have some experience with the IT projects. Yeah, how long does it take? Yeah, so this is definitely something which is in danger. And if you ask about what to do as a society, it's about bringing the new, I would call it AI abilities into our heads, into our mindset, and this is about utilizing our human values, our human skills, basically, and to be in the symbiosis with the AI skills. Very generally said, we can talk about it for hours, but that's definitely.
You've only got 5 minutes, though.
Yes. So I have to say I am really feeling threatened as a trained translator by AI, so let's see how these future jobs will evolve. I'd like to take reactions from all of you, maybe Rudolf, and then Michal and Péter, and then we'll wrap up.
So I completely agree with you that we should take care of it, how to use the AI. From the really, really long past, we can say that what distinguished people from animals was ability to share the knowledge. What we are creating like now is like shared Ava, shared brain. But what we must be careful with, that there is a lot of dust. So to move to to another level, we need to be able to get rid of that dust and to get the right information. And regarding our children, I have already 4, so 3 sons, 1 daughter. One of them is creating the algorithms for AI, not only as a user, but he's creating. So it means that they understand quite well. When I'm using my 10 years old son to presentation he's doing for his secondary grammar school, he's using almost every day some chatbots, some AI. So they are much better at this as we are.
Michal?
I think that the AI is bringing civilization into the next level. On the beginning of the 18th century, we had automatization and machines in the factories, and that machines was bringing a higher productivity, and from the years to years, better quality of the life for the whole people in the countries. And today, of course, we are talking about the situation that the AI can make a job for us, for the people. But that job is very often done, I could say, almost good enough. My childs are also using the AI for the school. Okay. But my daughter says, Dad, in the biology, here is a mistake. It is not like that. And why I'm saying about this? Because the AI will not stand in front of, instead of the people. The people will always be on the top. We have to take care to develop the next generation, their education, how to be on the top, not stuck on the lower level.
We have to really encourage the children to be aware of these tools, that they should still also have their own original and critical thoughts. I think it's a key message here.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so thanks, Michal. You just said what I wanted, so it's an easier job for me. No, but in reality, I don't share your worry about children because, you blink too and your children already are using everything that you don't even know about yet. So that's at least my children. Nevertheless, I have lots of discussions with the education, various parts of the education system. And what I see is that we are definitely not progressing fast enough to somehow embed AI into education at any level, so elementary school, higher education, etc. I think we should be much faster. My private view is that we need to be, again, the adoption type of mindset. So guys, use it, use it, use it. Let's see what results we are getting out of, let's say, a ChatGPT or a Copilot written document. And let's not, have a debate for hours whether but kids are gonna be stupid because no, I think let that go. Let them use the tools. And by the way, I see it on my own children that they do use everything that is possible, and I think some fantastic content is created there. Now, I think, by the way, for us as companies, we also do have a responsibility because, as far as I know, I read it somewhere in statistics. Company employees, I think it was large companies, but probably at lower levels it's even worse, only 38% of the employees had any type of AI-related training, which I think is really bad because, again, as I said it before, you need to be at least aware of what's available as a technology. And I'm telling that personally to you as well, but of course any audience, is that we have a very good study in Microsoft which says that 66%, so 2/3 of company leaders believe that AI is inevitable for their success, for their competitiveness. 60% have no clue how to launch it, but the same leaders, 71% of these folks would hire somebody instead of you. You have a lot of experience in your field, but they don't want you anymore. They want a younger version of you who can use AI because they don't know what kind of challenge will come next year, and somebody who knows how to use AI is much more likely to somehow solve a problem we don't even know about yet. So flexibility, adoption skills is coming hand in hand with AI. Sorry, I used the data.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this insight. I think that if we try to wrap up a little bit in just 1 or 2 sentences, we can see that AI is very much a challenge, as you are all aware. And we have to be ready to learn fast and go beyond large language models and really also work with our youth, which is basically the future of the Visegrad region. So with this, I have the pleasure of actually closing this panel and inviting you all for lunch. The break is until 1:30, and then we will follow with the panel on women in industries, and I'll see you again around 2:45. Thank you so much, and a big round of applause to our panelists. Thank you. Thank you very much. My pleasure. All right.